Hello everyone, welcome back, and I'm not going to make this intro too long. We're going to be doing a reaction video to Till Death Do Us Part Season 1 Episode 3, as you guys can see on the thumbnail. Right, so without any further ado-dos, let's see how some people from years ago were wasting their funds already.
I've never been good with my money. I've always sort of spent what I had.
It literally makes me sick to my stomach.
I like nice cars, I like nice clothes, and I feel that I deserve things.
I chose not to watch, or I chose not to be more involved.
My wife pushed for a budget, and I didn't like the idea of being constrained.
My family just said, you have no choice.
So his wife pushed for a budget and he didn't like the
I almost felt like
idea
I was
of
being treated like a
constrained.
child.
I'm not able to sleep at night.
I think we owe about $350,000.
I mean, my choice is to sell the house and fix up our finances, and if he chooses not to, that I would move out.
Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Love the intro part, guys. Love it. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money.
I'm a family physician.
So this guy's a doctor, family
My
physician.
income's based on fee-for-service, so it depends on how many patients I see, and I take home somewhere between, say, $100,000 and $120,000.
I've been married for almost 25
Wow.
years, and we have 5 boys.
My wife
25
owns a
years?
scrapbooking store, and when things are tight
That's
at
a
the
long
store,
time.
my wife doesn't take a draw, and we're trying to manage on my income only.
I think the main problem is we just don't know where the money goes.
I would take care of all the bills and things like that, make sure they got
Sure.
paid.
He would write checks that would bounce, and it's kind of like, well, didn't you know how much is in there?
Yvonne and I do argue about money. To actually say, okay, let's do the budget, I
Are
would
you
much
writing
rather
checks
she
that are
just forgot
bouncing?
about it.
You know, I kept on asking if what I could do to help, and that wasn't going over very well. That would be met sometimes with hostility.
I know it's affected the way she feels about me.
I really need a much more orderly life, and I'm bound and determined that I will do it one way or another,
nothing
either with him
personal.
or without him.
This month, I'll help this couple move from red to black.
Here she
I've been
comes.
solving money problems for over 20 years, tackling everything from high finance to low income. I help people understand money and
Let's
debt,
do it,
which is still
Gail.
a huge mystery for most folks. And it's the #1 reason couples split up. So now I'm making house calls.
Hear what she said? Number
Few
one
would
reason.
expect that this couple, living on a doctor's income, could be so heavily in debt. Their spending is out of control and untrackable. Serious debt problems can even be found in the nicest house on the street. Nice to meet you. You can tell a lot about people's finances by looking at how they live. Rob and Yvonne are living in a 4,000 square foot house full of stuff. What a beautiful room.
I'm glad you cleaned the bedroom.
This guy's so
Every inch is
rude.
packed full of stuff.
But I'm glad you
This
cleaned the
house is
bedroom.
speaking volumes.
That means she don't clean.
This is a nice room. Lots of DVDs. Nice big kitchen.
When DVDs
Wow.
are relevant.
To get a handle on Rob and Yvonne's financial problems, I went through 6 months' worth of their financial records. After screening their interview tapes, I know how they got into this mess. But do they? You've been an ostrich. You stuck your head in the sand,
Yeah.
and you pretty well ignored what was going on until a few months ago.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. You can't even find statements, right?
Oh gosh, no.
You've been a baby. Very self-indulgent. And you've positioned yourself as the most important person in this family.
No, it's funny because he said he felt like he was being treated like a
I feel
child.
because I work so hard that I deserve things. But I would also spend the same amount of money on my children or my wife.
The thing that perhaps concerns me as much as anything else is the fact that you're not communicating particularly well about this.
Welcome to reality.
Rob and Yvonne know they're in trouble, but they have no idea just how desperate their situation really is.
I have some issues with your budget.
Bed.
You're virtually
No kidding.
spending $2,700 a month in interest costs.
Interest
This is very
alone?
significant. This is just money down the drain.
I'm really worried just about the debt load itself, but as she added up the actual interest rate, it was-
$2,700 in
it was
interest
frightening.
alone.
You have huge capital expenditures. Windows,
Oh, and the furnace.
okay? The other thing is that you have a rather large miscellaneous cash category, which means I can't track it. I don't actually know what you're spending it on, but it's a lot of money.
We don't either.
Okay, I sifted the paper, and here's what I found. You are spending $18,000 a month more than you make.
$18,000 a month.
$18,000 a month or a year?
$18,000 a month.
Look at his face.
More than you make. You're virtually spending 3 times your income based on the paperwork you're
Look at his
sending.
face. He's like, a year? Nah,
Everything
buddy.
I've seen so far shows an
A
incredible
month.
lack of discipline. And it's sending
18,000.
Rob and Yvonne deeper and deeper into debt. On average, each month, Rob and
They
Yvonne
need
are
you,
paying
Gail.
$5,000 in back taxes, $8,000 in home maintenance costs, $3,000 in interest charges, and $2,000 in cash
In miscellaneous
that just
cash.
can't be tracked. That's $18,000.
The really bad news
$18,000.
is that if you keep up at this rate, in 5 years you will be completely bankrupt and you will owe $1.6 million.
Wow.
I don't want you to get scared.
That's all he has to say. Wow.
I wouldn't be here if I didn't think I could help. So I have a remedy. It's not going to be easy. Okay? But I need your commitment. I need you to promise that you will go forward with this and do the things that I'm asking you to do so we can set this boat right.
That's scary.
Okay?
Rob and Yvonne are going to have to learn to live on cash. And I'll assign them some challenges designed to bring some order to their finances and to their lives. If
You
they
go,
meet my
Gail.
objectives, I'll give them up to $5,000.
We have to stop spending the money that you can't afford to spend anymore. So what I want you to know is go get your credit cards and meet me at the top of the stairs.
I love
Coming
this
up,
is my favorite part of the
Rob's
show.
doctor's
Where she
lifestyle
chops
is
the
about to
credit cards in
change,
half.
and Yvonne gets her own reality check.
If you aren't being compensated for it, it's not a job. A job comes with a paycheck.
Damn. Telling somebody they gotta get a new job?
After years of mishandling their finances,
You've been an ostrich.
Yeah.
You've been a baby.
She hit the nail right on the head.
Rob and
You've been an
Yvonne
ostrich.
on-check spending
You've
has
been a
landed them $320,000 in debt.
You
20
are
bands in
spending
debt.
$18,000 a month more than you make.
That's a frightening amount of money.
My
Frightening,
choice
my
is to sell the
friend.
house and fix up our finances, and if he chooses not to, then I would move out.
So I'm here to help them get into the black. Money isn't rocket science, it's discipline.
Yeah.
So now they're going to have to live by my rules.
You got
For the
it,
next
Gail.
month, this couple will learn to live on a strict cash budget. No more credit cards.
Nope.
They'll complete weekly challenges to tackle their money and relationship issues. And if they're willing to change, I'll reward them with thousands of dollars. No changes, no money.
No
I
moolah.
want you to come in here.
Bumba hole.
What are you doing in here?
I am showing you that this organization is the hallmark of this whole issue.
Who keeps clothes like that?
So you know what? I'm going to hide these cards somewhere in this closet. And you won't be able to use them for a month. And you just better hope I remember where I've put them. Now go away.
Rob's problem is that he's not tracking his spending. Using a debit card makes it easier to ignore where the money's going.
My
Yeah.
check would go into my business account once a month, and I would just
That's
take a
interesting,
draw.
'cause-
But if we ran out of money, I would just take more money out.
Take more money out, eh?
Okay, so now that I've removed your credit cards, your
That's
debit
crazy.
cards, everything, you have no
The
other
thing is, they don't
option to
allow
live on
us to
cash.
have anything but
I've worked on
those
the budget
things
for
now.
you.
Unless you
and
pull the
this
cash
is the
out.
cash you have to spend this month. Outside of things like your mortgage and your hydro and the fixed costs that you have to pay every month.
Okay.
Food, there you have $1,000. For clothing, you have $200. For transportation, you have $500.
This is
And
probably my
for
favorite part. When
entertainment,
you start
you have
pulling the jars
$300.
out with the cash, that's
And in this book,
this is serious.
when you take money into these jars and spend it, you have to write it down.
Write it
It'll
down.
just float away and you won't know where it's gone. So we have to
Yeah.
stop that. And the way you do that is by recording everything.
Okay.
The next thing I'm going to do is going to be even harder. I'd like you to go get me your car keys.
Ooh.
Okay.
Why she said the car keys?
I don't like
Look
the
at this.
sounds of that.
Go.
Oh. To get out of the situation, I'm willing to give up my house. I'm not willing to give up my car. I'm not willing to give up my Sea-Doo.
I feel like I'm the only adult some days.
Before I assign Rob and
This
Yvonne
guy
the
rather
first
keep his
challenges,
Sea-Doo in his car
I
than
want
his
to
house.
tackle Rob's image
Look
issue.
at his face.
For you, prestige is very important.
Disappointed.
And the thing about this is you have to learn an important lesson in life. Some things are not important at all, including what kind of car you drive. So for the next week, you're going to drive her car, and she's going to drive your car. But that's not where this ends. You have to go and get all your bank statements for the last year and actually figure out what you have been spending so that you can come up with a very realistic budget for yourselves. And this is just as important. He can't carry this burden by himself. You need to find a way to kick some money into this household. Okay, it's too much for one person.
My wife owns a scrapbooking store, and there's been a bit of a downturn in the industry. So until things turn around, we exist on my income only.
It's just really a matter of me making myself a priority again in my business, where I make paying me my first priority. Then I'm gonna have to look at working at least 20 hours more a week in the store on top of everything that I do while I'm at home.
I think I'm also an ostrich, that I literally don't even open bank statements each month. Realistically, I need to know where the money's going. So I think as a task, it makes a lot of sense.
The jars are really going to help.
I went through it all over the last couple of days and itemized everything, got an average of everything, figured out my monthly income, and came up with a budget. So.
Okay. Did you account for your capital expenditures?
The windows and what else?
The furnace.
And the furnace.
Okay, so did you account for those things as well?
I did not.
Did you account for taxes that would be owed?
No.
This is exactly how Rob got into trouble in the first place. If
Yeah,
you
you
don't
can't avoid
plan for
stuff.
major expenses in your budget, you just end up going into debt to pay for them.
It
Right.
has to be part of your budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it has to be added in and amortized over the year so that you can come up with a monthly figure that you can set aside.
Right.
Exactly.
How did you do?
For me to actually withdraw more money, it really means that I have to replace some staffing hours.
Right. So they have the cash flow to do this?
Somewhat, yeah.
Okay.
The truth is I'm working
Somewhat.
30 hours a week already.
Just a second. You're working 30 hours already. Are you being compensated for those 30 hours?
No.
Okay, so you're not working. You have a hobby. If you were knitting at home for 30 hours, the family would be as far ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a job. It's something else.
Well, no, it's
Yeah,
a
you
job
can't-
that
you-
takes 60 hours a week.
If you aren't being compensated for it, it's not a job.
Ooh,
Does that
yeah.
sound harsh?
Yeah.
No, it's real.
Yeah.
There's no question that Yvonne is working
Jabs.
hard, trying to build her business
Jabs.
and take care of her family.
Girls hitting
But
them
she's
with
stressed
jabs.
out juggling it all, so now it's
Jeez.
time to simplify.
It's not a job.
We're
You
going to
better
clean
off
up your
knitting at
life
home.
and we're going to clean up your finances. So the first thing that I'd like you to do is go together to the bank and talk about consolidating all your personal debt in one place, most probably on your mortgage, to reduce your cash flow crunch. The second task is I want you to get rid of your stuff. I want you to take all the stuff that you haven't touched in the last 5 years. I want you to
Yeah.
hold the mother of all garage sales.
Hoarding is serious.
Oh, spit it out.
She's
Well,
like,
you know what? By the time we're done with it, nobody wants it. Garage sale is so much work.
If we unclutter, though, that's the task?
That is the task.
Is uncluttering.
The task-
Not necessarily selling it, but just getting rid of it.
The task is to declutter your life and declutter your finances.
The hard part is to continue the task from last week and then to do this at the same time.
Yes.
It's like, garage sale's not happening.
Listen, I know that there's always going to be something else that you could be doing, but it doesn't mean that they aren't worth doing.
Coming up, Rob and Yvonne
Garage
work
sale's
hard
not
to
happening.
declutter their lives. But do they share the same goal?
Are you cleaning this house up and selling it so that you're in a position to continue on your own?
yeah, that's a hard question to try to determine sometimes, especially when you're in debt. It's a little ridiculous.
Rob and Yvonne were spending heaps of money they didn't
18,000
have.
more than what you make.
virtually spending 3 times your income.
I've put them on a strict cash budget and designed challenges to help them get from red to black.
The jars.
If they are successful, they can earn up to $5,000. Yvonne is overwhelmed by her hectic lifestyle, but if she doesn't make this next challenge a priority, I can't give them the full $5,000.
I want you to get rid of your stuff.
Good for you, she's there. Garage sale's not happening.
All right?
Garage sale's not happening.
It's a lot of stuff. The more room you have, the more you can hide your junk. We're not going to have a garage sale, but we're going to put a tent up in the front lawn for stuff people can take. We consolidate our loans, paying off Yvonne's business visa and the line of credit, which is the real albatross. And so they're going to put those all together, and it should decrease our payments significantly.
Between their credit cards, lines of credit, and other debt, Rob and Yvonne were paying $2,700 a month in interest charges. By consolidating that debt to their mortgage, they're now making a single monthly payment at a lower interest rate, reducing their interest costs by hundreds of dollars and putting more cash in their pockets.
That's amazing. Good job, girl. Come through just playing superhero with finance.
How did your task go last week?
Well, we went into the bank and they were very friendly and they agreed that what you suggested was the best line of action. And so we consolidated the loans and we looked specifically at the ones that were the higher interest.
Excellent, because that was the whole point, to reduce the amount of interest you're paying and take the strain off your cash flow. So that's excellent. How are you doing on the home front in terms of decluttering?
Certainly we made a good start. We were able to take a load of stuff to the dump and got several bags of things to go to charity.
We were quite embarrassed by the closet scene, and so massively reduced it. I mean, it was funny because last night I noticed there was an echo in my closet I'd never noticed before.
Rob and Yvonne have come a long way. Now it's time to address the lack of communication in this relationship. So I want to meet with them individually to see if they are committed to working together to meet their financial goals. Are you cleaning this house up and selling it so that you're in a position to continue on your own?
No.
You're sure?
Yeah, you know what? I'm cleaning everything up, so I'm in a position to be able to carry on.
Will you get Rob involved in a cohesive way with you, so it's not him or you?
Oh, for sure. The numbers aren't the scary part. You know, it's what it's doing to our family is a bigger concern.
When we started this whole process, you were very married to your stuff. Do you remember that?
I'm not willing to give up my car. I'm not willing to give up my Sea-Doo.
In the scheme of things, when you look at $320,000 worth of debt, how do you feel about stuff now?
This stuff doesn't matter.
Now that Rob and Yvonne are committed to working together, I need them to come up with a concrete plan moving forward. I need an actual physical strategy that you're going to use so that this doesn't happen again. And that's your next task. Because you don't fix this, where do you expect you will end up?
Bankrupt.
No kidding.
Coming up, Rob and Yvonne come to terms with life and money.
I mean, I do my share of spending. I just happen to look good next to him.
Okay. Money.
Even though Rob and Yvonne live on a six-figure income, they have amassed a frightening amount of debt.
In 5 years,
and mind you guys, this was like,
bankrupt,
I think like 10 years ago, so come on.
I've assigned them challenges to help organize their finances, reduce their debt, and rebuild their damaged relationship.
This is like
I know it's affected the way she feels about me.
It's just made me very stressed and very tense.
If I think they've been successful, I'll give them thousands of dollars to help them on their way. Their final challenge is to plan their future together so they can get out and stay out of debt.
I think it's a matter of keeping track of the little expenses.
You know, we need to have an emergency fund, RRSPs and RESPs, which we have to continue.
Selling the business, it may not solve all the problem, but at least it's not causing more problems. You know, I think what we're looking for is not only a balanced budget, but a balanced life. Most importantly is we're not going to be accumulating more debt.
Maybe sell the Sea-Doos. I mean, as much as I don't want to get rid of it.
From a pressure and stress standpoint, I just want to be free and clear. I think the other thing is the selling of the house.
This is
I guess I need to look at it as an adventure.
An adventure.
That's good. Seems like they're coming together.
Rob, Yvonne,
consensus.
how do you feel having come through this whole process?
Really, a lot of the tasks I think that we've tried to complete to the best of our ability at this time, but at the same time, those are tasks that are going to be ongoing.
That's a realistic thing to say that, you know, we're working within a, again, finite amount of time, and there's only so much that can be done. Tell me how you felt, Rob.
I was really shocked at how much trouble we were in, I'm embarrassed that I feel responsible for a lot of it.
Actually, you know, I mean, I have to tell you, in all honesty, and going over it, I mean, I do my share of spending. I just happen to look good next to him.
Hardly ever one person's fault.
Right, right.
When I got here, you were spending 3 times your current income.
Yeah.
You were headed towards about $1.6 million in debt. All
that number
of your
even
life
makes me
seems
shake.
to be in disarray.
1.6
What we've seen
million
now
in
is
debt.
we've seen a change. We've brought our debt into control with the elimination of most of the debt and the track that you're on to eliminate further
interest
debt.
rate.
What you're looking at is you're not looking at that horror of 1.6 million down the road.
Rob and Yvonne have made a lot of changes this month. They've decluttered their lives and their finances, and they've brought their spending under control. Best of all, they're working together towards a healthy financial future.
I think that was a good
tons of
sit-down they
effort.
had.
I saw lots of enthusiasm. I saw a little bit of stress. And you see $5,000.
They got the full 5.
Thank you.
I have another surprise for you. I've arranged for someone to come and make you a lovely gourmet lunch.
And I've arranged for a photographer to come and do family portraits for you, so you remember what really matters in life.
I guess the
Family,
most important
guys,
thing that we
not the
learned
money.
was probably that we needed to
That's
work
nice.
together.
In the long run,
I didn't know Gail did this stuff.
this
That's
has to be
sick.
done. We learned a lot. Thank you.
I like that episode, guys. Very nice. Just my comments and feedback from the episode. It was one of the better ones. It seemed like by the end of the video they were able to come to a consensus on what they were doing wrong. So it's really interesting to see that. Yeah, like it's one of those things where I'm not gonna make this too long to end, but that can really hinder the progress of even just you being able to bond and be able to do things with your family. So that's why with my route that I'm taking with this channel is just to keep myself accountable personally, and if I can touch any lives when it comes to the practices that I keep. I grew up on this show, guys, so it was one of those things where it kind of like it's embedded in my brain just to be able to want to save money, and just knowing full well that the importance of being able to keep money in your pocket. It's extremely important, guys. So like I said in the beginning of this video, these guys were spending 3 times their budget, and a lot of us in this generation, we're not even like, they didn't have an accountant, and I always in my believe that you have to be your own accountant. You need to take account for what you're doing and how much you're spending. Don't be overzealous. And I'm not a doctor with a 6-figure income, and this gentleman was able to find himself in almost $320,000 in debt on his way to 1.6 million if it didn't stop, right? So I feel like it doesn't matter where you are in life. You can be the smartest person in the world, but being able to keep track of money and manage your money can sometimes be difficult, right? So this is another lesson learned from Till Death Do Us Part. And as usual, guys, until the next one, I will see you in the next video.